Hi, Jyoti.
In my excitement, I forgot to unmute myself. Hi, Sally.
Hi, it's so good to see you. How are
Oh,
you?
I am equally excited and thrilled to have this chance to speak with you. Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining. Thank you.
absolutely. I love seeing every woman entrepreneur doing her
Oh,
thing. So when you reached out to me, I was like, of course. I think
yeah,
collaboration over competition every day.
of course, yeah. And when I saw you that day on your live, I was just thinking perhaps I should give her an email and speak with her. So, you remember
I'm
the
glad it worked
potato?
out. And we're here now.
Yes. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I've had one meeting so far today, so kind of just getting started. So this should be fun.
Okay, it's morning time there.
It's morning. Yeah, it's about 11. Yeah, 11 in the morning.
Okay, that's great. You took some time out for me.
Yes,
So,
definitely. I think that I checked out your channel. I love everything that you're doing. I think that it'll be really cool to kind of get to chat with your audience learning English about
especially,
veganism.
yeah. Of course.
That's pretty fun. So that's something I was super excited about. And where are you
Yes.
based also?
Have you ever been to India?
I haven't yet. I need to go.
Okay, so you're welcome to my place. I
Oh,
am in Noida, which is near to Delhi, and Delhi is the capital
okay.
of India.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah, so
Nice.
tell me something like if you want to give a brief introduction so that audience will come to know about who you are.
Yeah, definitely. So, my name is Sunny Satva. I'm based in Brooklyn, New York, but I consider myself a global citizen. I've lived all over the world, including in East Africa, and I'm very passionate about introducing amazing plant-based flavors to the rest of the world. So, I've been vegan for 9 years, almost 10 years. I do believe that it's incredibly important to reduce animal suffering and reduce suffering in the world so we can break free of this cycle of suffering into something much more compassionate and sustainable for future generations. And the work that I do is centered around sharing really good vegan food and helping people make the transition for themselves, for their mind, body, and spirit to heal holistically.
Amazing. That sounds just amazing. And it's not as easy as it sounds, I'm sure.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
When I first went vegan, it was really, really challenging. I grew up in a household where we ate a lot of meat, we ate a lot of animal products, and that is something that
Hmm.
I had to
Hmm.
learn how to cook plant-based. And I actually published my cookbook, the Vegan Swahili
Yes.
Cookbook, which I have behind
Yes.
me. It's recipes from all over East Africa, the Swahili Coast region. These are recipes that have influences from Arabic food, Middle Eastern food,
Hmm.
and Indian food, and of course, African food that has all come together over hundreds of years to create
Okay.
Swahili food, which is this absolutely amazing cuisine that I love sharing with people because I
Yeah.
think everyone needs to know about it.
Absolutely. I think we will uncover your book later. And
Nice.
before that, I went vegetarian 7 years back. So
Amazing.
I was a non-vegetarian fellow, and then, yes, I switched to vegetarian foods. Although, yes, most of my food is plant-based. And
Hmm.
yeah, I do like take dairy products and all fermented foods. But when I have gone through your channel, I came to know that there are so many things and you can actually experiment. And
Yes.
yeah, I would love to know about how you have started your journey towards veganism and this
Yeah.
transition. And yeah, what sort of challenges have you faced in the beginning?
So
Yes.
it's a sad story. The reason I started the plant-based lifestyle, the vegan lifestyle, is my fiance back in 2015 was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So he was so strong and healthy, and then it seemed like almost overnight he became very, very sick. The doctors told him he had just a few months to live,
Mm.
and we were very deeply in love and absolutely did not want to accept that he was dying. So we were looking for any kind of solution to get his health back on track. And we got a second opinion from a different doctor and then a third opinion. And the third doctor we talked to mentioned something called a plant-based diet, which I had heard about veganism for the animals, but I didn't realize how impactful it is on our health and our body. And the way that our body is processing food can actually lead to sickness if we're taking too many animal-based products,
Yeah.
especially ones that are like very red meat and things like
Hmm.
that.
Yes.
So he decided to go vegan to try to save his life, and I decided to go vegan with him. We were partners in life and love, and um, even though the doctors told him he had just 2 or 3 months to live, he did end up living almost 2 years. He did pass away back in 2017, but I realized that for my own personal health, the plant-based diet is absolutely the best thing that I could do for myself. And I also have a ton of compassion for animals and for the planet, and I stay vegan because I realize that my choices impact others,
Hmm.
impact other lives, and the planet that we live on is being absolutely destroyed in many ways
Hmm.
by industrial animal agriculture, which I truly believe we need to shift away from, especially with population growth in the world. We need to
Yeah.
make sure
Yeah.
we're being sustainable. And so I've had a lot of challenges on this journey. It has not been easy. One thing that I will say is that community always makes it a lot easier. I'm sure most
Hmm.
people who are vegan or who have switched to vegetarian know that it's hard to be around family and to be around friends and social events if
Yeah.
the people you're with don't share the same lifestyle as you do. So that's something that was a big challenge for me. That's part of why I created my free community. It's the plant-powered path where we can come together,
Hmm.
share recipes, have virtual events, and really create a sense of belonging with people who have a like-minded kind of outlook on food and health and life. And that's free to join for anyone at
Hmm.
plantpoweredpath.com. And
Hmm.
that has helped me through so many of my challenges, really just being able to talk to people and ask them, okay, what do you even eat? Like, how do I cook cassava? How do I cook these sweet potatoes or these beans or tofu? How can we turn these plants into something delicious to sustain my body and my life?
Yeah. I mean, I am so amazed by looking at your passion for sharing those creative dishes. And when
Aw.
I have gone through the dishes, those are like rainbows and full of colors and everything. Like you have all the nutrients at one place, which I
Hmm.
cannot think of when plant-based diet comes to my mind. Because during my research, when I was doing PhD, I have explored this pathway, which is one carbon metabolic pathway, and wherein folic acid and vitamin B12 are the main cofactors, which actually
Hmm.
helps in all the biochemical reactions which are happening. And this pathway is responsible for cell growth and DNA synthesis and the methylation, which is the regulation of the genes. It happens. So
Mm.
that's a very
Hmm.
crucial pathway. So even, in India, more than 70% of the people are deficient in vitamin B12. And that's
Yeah.
crazy if because it's being said, and it's a fact that the animal-based products, they are rich in vitamin B12. So
Yeah, and
how
the
do
reason
you?
why animal-based products are rich in vitamin B12 is because of where vitamin B12 comes from. So B12 is
Hmm,
synthesized by bacteria,
bacteria.
and
Yeah.
animals who are eating from the earth
Mm,
and they're eating dirt, anytime they're eating dirt, they're taking in that bacteria. So what we need to do as vegans is look for different ways to get that bacterial intake. You talked about fermented foods earlier.
fermented
So
foods,
fermented
yeah.
food is a great way to get your vitamin B12 as well as something called nutritional yeast. So yeast,
Okay.
is just a form of bacteria, but
Yeah.
nutritional yeast is something that lots of vegans use to make our cheese substitutes. I love my like cheese sauces that I make with nutritional yeast. I also use
Yeah.
potatoes and carrots to give it that texture, boiled and blended.
Okay.
But nutritional yeast is my number one tip for anyone who wants to get their vitamin B12 up, whether you're vegetarian or vegan or just deficient in B12. It's
Okay.
delicious. You can use that to season your food, and you can also use it to make plant-based cheeses. And then as well, fermented foods such as fermented cabbage, like sauerkraut or kimchi, or
Yeah.
other fermented things like kombucha. I love kombucha, the
Kombucha.
fermented tea. And that's something that will also help you make sure you're getting your B12.
Yeah, these things like kimchi and kombucha, which you are talking about, lately it is becoming popular in India.
Oh,
Like through
cool.
reels, I have seen that trend. And yeah, fermented food is always good for you as
Hmm.
it helps in the
Absolutely.
production of B12 in the intestine. So for folic acid, yes, we have all plant-based, the green leafy vegetables and other
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Get your iron up with some kale, some collard
Kale,
greens, some
yeah.
spinach. It's the best way. And yeah, iron deficiency. So funny enough, folic acid, that's just iron, food that has iron in
Hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
I had a very intense condition called anemia when I was a teenager. And so
Oh,
anemia is having really low iron in your blood, and
yes.
that can result in just feeling really fatigued and really tired. And I was at a point where I was just always exhausted. And this was when I was 14, 15, 16,
Hmm.
well before I went plant-based. And I saw doctors about this. I had my blood work done. My results came back with low iron. And the prescription that these doctors were giving me was always to take more red meat. And their argument was that red meat is where you're going to find the most iron. And
Okay.
I was eating burgers and all of these things, and it just wasn't working. I was eating red meat. I was eating all of these, very
Yeah.
heavy, very difficult to digest foods, and it wasn't making me feel any better. And when I got my blood work done, my iron was still low. And it wasn't until I adopted a plant-based diet that my anemia actually was completely reversed. And for the past almost 10 years now, I've had no issues with low iron at all. And that's because my diet has changed so that I eat a ton of leafy greens,
Yeah.
but I also eat a lot of beans. And beans
Okay.
have a very, very high iron content. So things like kidney
Yeah.
beans, black beans, even soybeans, are really, really great resources of iron. And it is super important to make sure that we're eating enough iron because that is how
Absolutely.
our body is making more blood cells and able to
Yeah.
continue moving us throughout the world. So,
Yeah. And
um,
especially since we bleed every month. So to,
exactly. And I think that's
for that
why it
menstrual
started was
cycle.
exactly after my menstrual cycle started is when
Yeah.
my iron deficiency started, and that process took me years to heal. And I think this information needs to be so much more accessible because there's countless young women who are
Yeah.
struggling and
Yeah.
suffering because your body's needs change over time, and you
Yeah.
have to adapt how you're eating to complement that.
Yes, that's true. And in India, there are a lot of programs, government programs. There are policies for folic acid, which is vitamin B9 supplementation.
Mm.
So, in fact, there are iron folic acid syrup, which are given to kids till 5 years of
Mm,
age. So, we have a lot of programs. Still, the bitter fact is that the prevalence of anemia is not going down. And I think this is to do with the diet we are taking, right?
definitely. Absolutely. I think anemia is just getting worse as more processed foods are becoming
Yes.
kind of the norm. So people aren't eating enough whole foods, enough plant-based foods that
Mm,
are actually going to fuel your body. A lot of what people are eating is empty calories, things that aren't truly going to give you all the vitamins and nutrients that your body needs in order to rebuild. Because every day we're using energy, we're depleting our
exactly.
resources, and what we eat is how we're refilling those resources. So if we're not fueling ourselves optimally, then we're going to see that in terms of how we feel and our energy levels.
Yeah, and I was, before having this conversation, I was really excited to just devour all those research papers
Mm.
which are on veganism and how this
Ooh,
transition cures certain diseases, or probably there is an association
it's
with the.
crazy.
It's crazy because when I came
So
to know
I've
that,
seen it in real time. Like
yeah,
my fiance had terminal cancer and his tumor stopped growing and then the tumor
yeah,
receded because of a plant-based diet. And my father is diabetic, but he adopted a plant-based diet for about a year and he got to a point where he didn't need to take more insulin because he reversed his diabetes
oh
just through
wow,
eating plant-based. So it's truly something that I think we don't realize, which is our body is actually working so much harder to process food when it's animal products and when it's very processed commercial products versus if we're eating natural plant-based foods, our body doesn't have to work as hard. So we have
yeah,
all of these different diseases that can happen internally that are definitely preventable. Things like type 2 diabetes and heart disease, and even some types of cancer are all
yeah,
diet
yeah,
related diseases, which means
yeah.
if you change your diet, then those
Yes.
diseases can be overturned.
Yeah, and hypertension, it goes down, and sugar, you rightly said that insulin sensitivity becomes better. And
Hmm.
yes, your organs, they are, rejuvenated kind of just by changing your
Absolutely.
dietary pattern.
Especially when it comes to cholesterol. I've talked to so
Yeah,
many people who
yes.
don't realize plant-based foods do not contain any cholesterol. So if you're eating fully vegan, you will not be taking in dietary cholesterol, and that
Hmm.
results in if you have high blood pressure or other cholesterol-related illnesses, that can be even cured by just eating a plant-based diet, or at least the symptoms can alleviate somewhat.
Yeah.
If you are eating eggs and dairy, if you're vegetarian, those do still
Hmm.
have cholesterol in them, but just plant-based foods don't have any cholesterol, which blew my mind when I learned about that because I
Yeah,
didn't
actually,
realize that.
yes, what it does is it increases the level of good cholesterol, which is HDL, and decreases the
Mm-hmm.
bad cholesterol, which is LDL. So the synchronization is so useful for the body that you become healthy in the process. And
Wow.
yes, there are papers which says that red meat equivalent to high cholesterol, and then more of this. Junk food, especially animal
Mm-hmm.
based food, it actually it surged levels of cholesterol. So I
Yeah.
am actually enjoying this vegetarianism because yes, I do take certain dairy products, but and I have noticed myself that it increases inflammation. I would feel more bloated if I'm having a glass of milk in the nighttime, especially.
Mm-hmm.
So I just regulate and try to note down my signs and symptoms which I am feeling after having certain
Yeah.
types of meals. And yes, I think dairy products especially doesn't suit me well. So I have
No,
cut
I'm
off those
lactose
things.
intolerant, so giving up
Okay.
dairy made a lot of sense for me because inflammation is present in any disease, right? Like
Yeah.
inflammation is the common factor to any kind of body system failure. And so if you're eating inflammatory foods,
Yeah.
eventually, if you eat them regularly, that inflammation is going to build up in your body and result in, at the best case scenario, discomfort, and in the worst case scenario,
Hmm.
some disease. So avoiding inflammatory foods is
Yeah.
something that everyone who is feeling some type of discomfort in their body, that should be the first thing you do is look at what you're
Hmm.
eating, look at the inflammatory foods that you're eating, like dairy products,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
other inflammatory products, and work to reduce those in your diet
Hmm.
because inflammation is dangerous. It is very, very
Very,
dangerous.
very dangerous. Yeah, you're right, because it is the underlying cause of all the diseases which are happening, all the
Yeah.
disorders, perhaps. And it also
Mhm.
changes your brain function. So it also reduces the memory over time when you are indulged in eating such products.
hmm
So, yay, go vegan. That is what I
There's
can
so
say.
many good reasons to go vegan.
Absolutely. And I'm so inspired by you. And just tell
Aw.
me a little bit about your cookbook. And congratulations for this book, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you. So I love spicy food. I love food that is just full of interesting, unique flavors. And I absolutely fell in love with Swahili food living on the East African coast. I
Hmm.
lived in Kenya for about a year and was absolutely amazed that I had gone most of my life without eating Swahili food until I was living in that region. And this is some of the most incredible food that I've had in my life. Think like coconut curries, think really amazing, like warming spices, think chai flavored desserts, really, really rich, vegetable rich foods, lots of
Hmm.
stews, lots of awesome beans and lentils and tofu combinations. We can actually even look at a couple of recipes because I've got the
Oh,
book right
yeah.
here. So some of my favorite recipes. So these sweet date bites, these
Oh,
actually only take like 25 minutes, and this is a really good sweet snack, kind of like ladus. If
yeah, I
you're
do
from
prepare
India,
them.
and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, kind of like ladus, but no ghee, no dairy in those. We've also got these potatoes. We call them viazi karai. So these are some of my
Okay.
favorite potato dishes. They're a little spicy
Yeah, I
with
can
some
see mustard
turmeric.
seeds on the top.
The mustard seeds, exactly.
Yeah.
We use chickpea flour, besan, to make these, so
Okay.
they're gluten-free as well. Another
Perfect.
one of my favorites, this is matoke, which is plantains. It's green plantains in a
Okay.
stew with some kidney beans. So this is a really,
Hmm.
really high protein dish. It's also fantastic. We also have curried cabbage, so cabbage with lots of good curry spices.
Okay.
A little spicy, but all in all, there's 75 recipes in the
Looks
cookbook, more than 75
scrumptious.
recipes,
Yeah,
and they're so delicious. You can check it out at veganswahili.com. We've got the
sure.
ebook, we have the physical books as well. And my goal with this book was to try to bring amazing East African cuisine to the rest of the world because I've traveled a lot. I've lived
Yeah.
all over the world, and anytime I want to get African food, there's very limited options where it's usually only either Ethiopian food or Nigerian food, maybe some North African food is available,
Okay.
but Swahili food needs to be everywhere in the world because it's just that good.
Absolutely. Yeah. These dishes, these recipes have your personal touch to it.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
some of the recipes are traditionally plant-based. Many of them I had to work to create a plant-based version of them. So we've
Okay.
also got like our plant-based omelets that we have. It's actually the cover photo.
Oh,
This is a French fries omelet or a chips omelet that we make with mung beans, even though it's
okay.
traditionally
Yeah,
made
yeah.
with eggs. And so we have
Hmm.
lots of different ways to substitute eggs and meat in this cookbook. And they all have my personal touch. And we also touch on the environmental justification, why a plant-based diet is
Yes.
a great solution to fighting climate change, and some of the health benefits and ways to customize the different dishes in here as well. So it's all recipes that I've learned and then adapted for my taste that I hope that you'll enjoy as well.
Yes, I'm sure I would love. And people who would visit your site, they'll come to know the new flavors and East African touch to these
Absolutely.
dishes. Yeah, tell me which one is your favorite sauce which you prepare and how is it prepared?
Okay, so my favorite dish is the coconut kidney beans. So that starts with a base of coconut milk, turmeric, coriander, cumin, We've got some peppers, capsicum, onions, garlic, ginger, and then we use kidney beans, bay leaf to help offset the gas that might come with eating lots
Okay.
of beans. And then that's cooked until the sauce gets really thick and creamy, and it's this delicious, flavorful, creamy coconut sauce with the beans. And it's one of my favorites. I like to have that with chapati or rice.
Okay. Does it have soury taste or
So that dish doesn't, but there's another very similar one that's called a Mombasa mix. I'll show you the photo as well. And that's
okay.
another kidney bean dish, but we put mango in it. And you can even
Hmm.
add tamarind as well. And so that
Okay.
is what that's a curry that has a little bit more of that sourness, a little bit more of
So do
that.
you add raw mangoes or just the
I add the
normal?
raw mango, but you could add dried mango as well, but we'll cook it into the curry. So it's added
Okay.
raw, but it gets cooked in with the coconut milk, with the sauces, and as well carrots,
All these
potatoes,
all these
kidney beans.
terminologies are so new to me. Mombasa,
Ah!
yeah. And then I came to know aquafaba, wherein I think you've
Yes.
prepared it using chickpeas leftover
The
water.
Exactly. So if
Yeah.
you are cooking your own chickpeas, or if you get a can of chickpeas, you take the water that the chickpeas are cooked in, and then you whisk it. If you have an electric mixer or whisk, it goes much easier. But you whisk that or mix it for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and it turns from this liquid to this really, really creamy, foamy,
Foamy,
very
okay.
fluffy material, and you can use that as an egg substitute. You can use it as a cream substitute. I just made some strawberries and cream. That's on my YouTube channel, and I used
Okay.
aquafaba for that. So you whip it up until it's this really fluffy texture, and then I added some sugar to it to make this really,
Okay.
really nice cream.
I'm going to
But
try that
aquafaba
one.
is
Yeah.
amazing. Yes, yes, you have to check it out. It's so good.
Yes, I'm going to try that one. And which is your favorite sauce? Like,
Mm.
yeah,
I love tamarind sauce. Um,
tamarind.
I love like a little sweet and sour kind of sauce, and tamarind is
Hmm.
always giving that combination of sweet and sour. So I love that with my samosas, with my bhajias, with
Okay.
anything fried. But then I also really, really do love coconut chutney. So I can put that on almost anything. I just
Yeah.
am a big coconut fan. And then as well, in the cookbook, we've got a whole section on sauces. I love saucy food. I think that sauce is one of the best ways, especially eating plant-based or vegan, to take a
Yeah.
meal from pretty good to excellent. And one of my favorite sauces is also this groundnut
Ground.
sauce. And so it's like
Okay.
a peanut sauce. You can use any kind of ground nuts that you like. You can
Hmm.
use peanuts, you can use bambara nuts. But this is mixed with ginger, tomatoes, onion, garlic, some spices, a little bit of vegetable broth, and it's just such a nice sauce that traditionally it's eaten often with matoke, which is the green plantains that are cooked with
Okay.
spices, but you can put this on anything. I put this on all kinds of vegetables. I'll put it on tofu, I'll put it on cabbage, on carrots, on stir
Okay.
fries. The groundnut
Does
sauce is
does it
one of
taste
my
like
faves.
peanut butter or because the
It does.
consistency looks like very smooth.
It is very similar to peanut butter. You can even use peanut butter as the base. So if you don't have peanuts, you can
Okay.
start
Got it.
with peanut butter and then add in the additional spices, some lime juice, some
Hmm.
vegetable broth to get it more of a sauce consistency.
Nice, lovely.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
so good.
falling in love with these dishes. As you know, cooking is my hobby. I keep experimenting with different ingredients, and I love to make my plate colorful. So I use
Mm.
all the seasonal vegetables, which like broccoli,
Ooh.
capsicum, and any,
Hmm.
just name it, and it's there. This reminds me that in one of the dishes which you have prepared by using lion
Lion's
mane
mane
mush.
mushrooms.
Oh,
Yes.
I loved
So
it when I looked
oh
at
my
it.
gosh. It's so good. So I grew up eating a lot of chicken, and while I don't eat chicken now, the lion's mane mushrooms, is very, very similar in texture and even in
Yeah, it
flavor.
looked like
So this
that
is,
only.
oh my gosh, and the recipe is on my YouTube. It's vegan sunny lion's mane
Yeah.
mushrooms. It's very, very simple to make. I think you can also grow your own lion's mane mushrooms at home. So if you're
Okay.
interested, definitely let me know. And I have some tips on growing mushrooms as
Okay, what
well.
temperature it requires generally?
Temperature, so you want it a little bit cool and you need to have it dark.
And
So
moist
you
also,
can
like,
grow it in moist. Exactly. You need a
hmm,
dark, moist, slightly cooler environment. So if you have an underground area in your home or a closet that stays cool throughout
hmm.
the day, that would be the best place to grow the mushrooms.
It will be difficult here, I
I
believe.
know it's so humid.
But yeah, my mother, she has a habit of, growing all the vegetables. So she has
Oh,
all the
beautiful.
vegetables on the terrace. So, you need those
Mm.
skills. I don't have.
It's tough. I have a community garden, so I
Okay.
have about 15 other people, and we all come together to grow vegetables together. But it's nice to have a community to do it with
Yeah, I
because
agree
if
with
I'm not
you.
able to go and water or like give the plants the care that they need, there's a
Yeah,
whole community supporting these vegetables' growth.
yeah. So, Sunny, before wrapping up, what advice would you like to give to anybody who is going to start this journey?
The first advice I have is be kind to yourself. Don't try to be a perfectionist. I
Hmm.
struggled when I first went vegan. I went back to cheese several times. I had some animal products, some turkey. Um, while even though I was committed to eating vegan, it still took me some time to fully get there, and that's okay. It is really hard to change your eating habits and your lifestyle overnight. So be kind to yourself on the journey. And my other piece of advice is don't feel like you have to do it alone. That's why I started the plant-powered path. That's why I have my YouTube channel. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I like to
yes.
talk about these things because I felt so isolated and alone when I first went vegan. It was really just me and my partner, and we didn't really know
Hmm.
other people who were on the similar journey. And you might have to find that community virtually or online,
Yeah,
or it might not be right in front of you in your town or in your home or in your local community. But I promise that there are people who can support you on this journey.
yes.
And I would love to support you as well, so you can join the Plant Powered Path
Of
and
course,
hang out with
yeah.
me there.
Sure. And before wrapping up, when you eat those different dishes which are plant-based, it is reflected onto your skin. And as I
Yeah.
can see, like your face is glowing, and there is
Aw.
so it is reflected onto your body. You have no ailments, no underlying conditions. So
No,
that's
so the biggest thing I noticed when I first went vegan, I was somebody who suffered from acne for years. So
hmm,
pimples and zits all over, not just my face, but my neck, my chest, my back. I suffered a lot from these skin blemishes. And once I went vegan, my skin absolutely was transformed. It was after a few months, I had very, very few blemishes, and now 9 years in, I don't get any pimples or anything,
yeah,
unless maybe one or two if it's that time of the month.
yes.
But definitely, absolutely feel like I am glowing inside and glowing outside.
Yeah,
And so are you,
I can
Jyoti.
feel that. Yeah, I can feel that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. It's such an honor and such a pleasure to
Aw.
meet with you, speak with you. I just loved it. And thank you
Oh, this
so
was so
much.
fun. Absolutely. Thanks for
I
reaching out. And I'm so happy that we're getting to have this collaboration because I think
yes,
the more people who recognize like it's not as hard as you think it is a big win for the vegan movement. Because it doesn't have to be a
yeah.
challenge, it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be confusing.
Hmm.
You just have to make sure you have the support and the resources available to you to know that you're not walking alone on this path.
Yeah. And on top of it, I think since the feel and that we are not doing any harm to anybody, any animal,
Yeah.
that feel you feel content, you feel satisfied, that
Hmm.
so that's a very great feel altogether.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you eat vegan, you're saving an animal a day.
Vegan.
Um, whew.
Yes. So thank you so much, Sunny, and
Of course,
have
that
a
was
good day.
fun. Hair
Okay,
Jyoti.
take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.